Okay, so in this video, we're going to cover dividing decimals. And we're going to go over several examples. Let's get started with this one. So you want to make sure that when you are dividing and they give you the answer horizontally, because that's usually the case, you have to make sure you put each number in the correct position. All right, so here's your little house. The first number should always go on the inside, regardless if it's the bigger number or smaller number. The second number always goes on the outside, right? This is the dividend, and this is the divisor. All right, this is what's going to be cut up, and this is how much it's going to be cut up by. Inside number, dividend, outside number, divisor. Whenever you're dividing, though, the divisor must always be a whole number, meaning something you can count on your fingers. You cannot count 0.04 on your fingers unless you had an accident and part of your finger is missing. So we're going to have to change this 0.4 into just 4. So what we're going to have to do is get this decimal and place it here at the end to make 0.04 into 4. So all I got to do is just move it twice. 1, 2. All right. But if I did that for the divisor, I must also do it for the dividend. That means I'm going to move my decimal the same amount of times, the same direction. 1, 2. And now my decimal should belong there. All right. What you do next is you shoot it up. Now what I'm about to do next is optional. You can clean up your mess. But right now it's kind of hard to look at. All right. And it might be confusing. I myself don't have any trouble with this. But if you want things to be looking nice and neat, you can always just erase the 0 now. All right. Let's make this much faster. And you erase your work here. Same thing over here. But make sure you leave the decimal behind. And now my numbers look much neater, and it's going to make my work easier to work with, or my question easier to work with. So here's what I had before. And you can leave it like that. It's perfectly fine. Or you can clean it up. All right, so now let's start dividing. But remember, when you're dividing, make sure you place a decimal above it. First, you're going to ask yourself, how many times does 4 go into 2? 0. How many times does 4 go into 2? I just said that. 0. I should have started off, how many times does 4 go into 0? 0. How many times does 4 go into 2? 0. Well, you go on to the third number. How many times does 4 go into 24? It's going to be 6 times. 4 times 6 gives me 24. I subtract. Once you have your 0 here, it means you're done. So there is my answer, or your quotient. Quotient is when you get two numbers and it's the answer that you get from those two numbers.